Hi everybody. Wanted to come to you by this way of video again. Seems to be a good way whenever time is of the essence, and I know we've got ladies who are heading on ladies retreat this weekend, and there was just no way to pull all of our church leaders together to be able to talk to you. I needed to tell you what's been going on over the last several months regarding our property and kind of catch you up to date, let you know what God's done in the last couple of weeks and where we stand today and what this is going to look like moving forward. Let me take us back first of all and just refresh all of our memory. First of all, 2 years ago in March, we purchased right at 10 acres over on County Road 177. You've all been out there, you know the property I'm talking about. So we purchased this property on a 30-year amortization on a 2-year note. And it was an owner finance. At the time, that was the best option we could find to be able to buy the property. It still was a good option even as we look back at it today. So we bought this property. We knew that come 2 years from then, that was in March of 2008, we knew 2 years was coming. So we began the negotiations back in September with the property owner about renegotiating our note, maybe into a 5-year deal, to be able to get us a little more leverage to be able to get ready to move forward with building. Our goal has always been to pay off that land. You remember whenever we started Reverb, that was the #1 goal of Reverb, is to pay off our property. It's the it was first and foremost that we wanted to accomplish. So we've still been working towards that, saving money, putting money into it, consistently making the payments on it, doing a great job with that. So in September, we started our negotiations towards this land. Things were going well. We began to talk back and forth about what that would look like. We had talked about maybe getting a note to try to pay this property off to the landowner. We also had talked about renegotiating, and as I mentioned, maybe to a 5-year deal. Well, in January, a turn of events happened, and what happened is our landowner came up letting us know they had a tax bill that had come due, and they needed to do a little something different with this because they needed some more money from us up front in order to satisfy that tax bill. So we began to talk back and forth, and as we got closer and closer to the due date of March 14th, which, as you know, was last Sunday, we began to negotiate this out and came to a realization that they had were trying to sell the property behind us. There's a lot of acreage behind us, and we have first right of refusal on that, and they were trying to sell some of that, so they came to us wanting to work a deal with us. Well, their deal consisted of this. They wanted us to pay them $50,000, which was fine. We had that saved up in Reverb money, and to pay them $50,000 towards our note. And then what they had initially suggested is that they take about 1.25 acres from what would be the bottom side of our property down towards the other property owner, down away from Palmer, 1.25 acres from there, and swing it around to the back side of our property, which basically would be over the fence line that we put up 2 years ago, and put it on the back side of our property. Well, initially that's not really a bad idea. There's actually some benefit to us in doing that. The problem was this: what we paid for that 1.25 acres was not even close to what the property in the back is worth. The property in the back is worth so much less than that property. By their numbers, they had said the property, the 1.25 acres that we own already, is worth somewhere between $35,000 and $40,000 an acre, and this in the back they said was worth $25,000 an acre, which is probably shooting a little high on that backside. So in all actuality, what that looked like is we stood as a church to make a land for land swap, 1.25 acres on the low side of ours, to swing it around to the back side of ours for 1.25 acres. We stood to lose somewhere between $13,000 and $20,000 in that deal because the property wasn't equal in price. Well, the owner wasn't willing to give us more property for the property we were given up front, and in all actuality, they needed that property to have access to the back property they were trying to sell. So they were trying to work this whole deal around, get their tax bill paid, as well as leverage the note that we had against us for their benefit to be able to sell that back property at probably a higher price to some other purchaser that they had on the line. Well, all of that seemed fine with one exception. Rock Point loses in that. We lose money, we lose some of the best property. And that's just not okay with me. And I believe it's not okay with you. So we negotiated this back and forth until finally we were kind of coming close to our March date, our March 14th date, and finally came to the realization that we needed to go get some conventional lending and just go to a bank and get the extra $125,000 that we needed, because we had been able to save roughly $120,000 to $125,000. That's what we had in the bank of reverb money. So we had half of the money to pay for the note. The note is $250,000, almost $251,000, and we had half the money in the bank. The other half we didn't have. It was just coming in slowly as reverb money. So we decided we would go to the bank and figure this out. Well, while I was gone in Costa Rica, I had a couple of guys who went to the bank. As a matter of fact, they went to 19 different banks, and we've been told, no, we won't lend you $125,000 because of one reason only, because banks are not loaning on raw land. There's no, we're not to the place where we're ready to break ground on that yet, and just on a raw piece of land, they will not loan us $125,000. So with that in mind, we needed to come up with a different solution. So when I returned from Costa Rica last week, met with a couple of people, got some advice from somebody on the outside who's been in real estate for years, and the conclusion became very clear that we needed to take control of this property. We needed to take this property out of the hands